I feel so miserable for this person who was just on Caleb Hammer's show that I have to add my insight, especially since I highly disagree with Caleb Hammer's advice that he gives right here. And then I'll fill you in on the situation.
Very best paying month, you just break even. Just break even. So, and you said you work 50 to 60 hours a week?
Yeah.
Hey.
And we
just like the episode that got uploaded today, this might be the second time that bankruptcy might be considered. It won't touch your student loans, but the student loans are not my biggest concern here. Obviously, your car, that's going to be a situation you're going to have to figure that out. And it's you've been through the separation. You're going to go through the divorce, and this bankruptcy can have a very similar emotional toll in someone in your situation. That's why I just don't really like talking about it here, because any studies on mental health when it comes to bankruptcy and everything concerned, it's so rough. It's one of the worst things to go through.
So this is a scenario where you have a police dispatcher. His name is Raymond. He makes about let's just make it on a monthly figure. He's 20 years old. He makes about $3,600 per month. Meet Raymond. Here he is. Again, he's a police dispatcher. The problem is he spends all of his money, which is actually not terribly surprising, given that he's making $3,600 a month. He's barely making over $40,000 a year after tax. And that doesn't leave you a lot of money, especially when your housing cost is somewhere around $900 per month with utilities and other bills associated. And you've got to live. You've got food. You've got debt payments. You've got a car payment. You've got student loans. You've got $4,400 debt on a computer, a gaming PC you bought. You've got $2,000 of another credit line. This is a terrible situation to be in. And the poor individual just went through a freaking divorce. The problem is, in my opinion, and I am a licensed financial advisor, the problem in my opinion is Raymond didn't get the advice that he needed in this video. And that's okay, because this is not a diss on Caleb. Caleb suggested, you know what, we're going to send you to a financial advisor that you have connections with, whatever. But that is a great recommendation. But here is some free insight from Meet Kevin. Okay, number one, I used to be a police explorer. I used to work in dispatch and on the road for thousands of hours. And I'll tell you, police dispatch is a great foot in the door to actually starting working your way up the ladder. We have to start at the beginning. We gotta start getting that top line up. $3,600 is not enough. The problem is, unfortunately, this is the hardest thing to say, but somebody's got to say it, okay? It's hard to say this, but Raymond, okay? We are not going to be a very functional cop until we get in the shape that we need to be in to be a cop. I don't care if this means hitting up our insurance to see if Wegovy or Ozempic or whatever is an option for us to get ahead. But what we got to do is now we got to make ourselves marketable. We got to make ourselves marketable in two ways, ASAP. Number one, we got to make ourselves marketable to women. Number two, we got to make ourselves marketable to the jobs market. Those two things are going to be what change your life. So how do we do that? Again, number one, getting in shape, weight loss, whatever it's going to take to make sure that we are fit to be able to actually compete in either of those markets. That's step one. So step one, let's get to a doctor. Let's figure out a plan. Let's get to a nutritionist. Let's figure out a plan. The downside is when you're making $3,600 a month, the food that you're usually buying isn't fruit, vegetables, and nuts. It's usually to-go food that's unhealthy, high in saturated fats. It makes us function less appropriately during the day. We feel more tired. Nutrition is so important to actually being able to function as an entrepreneur, and most people screw that up. Okay, so that's number one. Now we're more marketable to women and jobs, especially jobs that require physical rigor and not just sitting in a police dispatch chair. For you to be able to get through the police academy, if you get hired on, and there are a lot of openings at law enforcement PDs right now. Why? Well, look, 10 years ago, you would have wait like 2 or 3 years to get into law enforcement. Today, law enforcement is so hated, and I know this is like ironic. It's like stay in the hated industry. It's so hated after what we saw during BLM and otherwise. Law enforcement isn't really respected anymore. It's a tough business to be in. That's actually created an opportunity though, because it's now easier to get a job as a cop. Okay, you're already in the world. You know your 10 codes, you know your dispatch codes, you know how to communicate on the radio. You know how many of the cops on the road don't have good radio etiquette? Of course you do, because you're the dispatcher and have to deal with it. So I want to shake you and go, bro, let's get marketable to both of these. You just went through a divorce. It's freaking terrible. But let's not stay in the hole. Let's climb our way out. You can do this. I know you can do it. And somebody's just gonna get it tough, man. I feel bad, but we can't. Feeling bad doesn't get us anywhere. So we get marketable on women, we get marketable on the job. That's 2 birds with 1 stone right there. Because now you can get through the police academy. Now you bump your income. Now as your income goes up, and if you can't get the police officer job, maybe you're also applying for firefighter jobs, or you're applying for whatever other jobs you can leverage your skill set in to make more than $3,600 a month. I guarantee you the jobs are out there. You've got to get into a marketable place. Now you don't have to go bankrupt. Because if you go bankrupt, you're not going to be able to buy a house for the next 7 years, potentially. There's some FHA 4-year programs where you can get back into housing. And I know some people are like, what? How could you even think about buying a house? You can't right now. But do you want to potentially destroy your chance of being able to do that over the next 7 years? No, of course not. What if there's a housing crash and prices come down, and then all of a sudden you have a better opportunity to buy real estate, and at the same time as your income goes up? Your income goes up, you're much more capable of actually making your payments on time. You're not worried about late payments. You don't have to feel bad. You get your act together. Now, obviously, since this is a reaction video, I encourage you to go check out Caleb's Hammer's video. It's 56 minutes long. You can see the whole reaction. But in my opinion, this right here is exactly the advice that was missing. I don't know if Caleb just wanted to be nice to the guy, whatever. I feel bad. It breaks my heart to hear he went through divorce. My parents went through divorce multiple times, and it was one of the most challenging times of my childhood. Not only did my parents go through divorce, but then the .com bubble happened. We lost my childhood home. Everything was a complete disaster. This is bad, okay? Divorce, bad. High debt, bad. These are things we gotta solve. But these 2 things that I've recommended, starting with making yourself marketable, will help you get out of this hole. And you could do it even in this economy. In fact, government jobs are much more plentiful in a late cycle of an economic development. In like plain English, it's easier to get good government jobs that actually pay really well, certainly more than $3,600 a month, in hard economic times. So use those things to your advantage. You can do it. I have faith. Good luck.
Why not advertise these things that you told us here? I feel like nobody else knows about this.
We'll try a little advertising and see how it goes.
Congratulations, man. You have done so much. People love you. People look up to you.
Kevin Paffrath there, financial analyst and YouTuber. Meet Kevin. Always great to get your take.
Now I have to read you a legal disclaimer. Even though I'm a licensed financial advisor, licensed real estate broker, and becoming a stockbroker, this video is neither personalized financial advice nor real estate advice for you. It is not tax, legal, or otherwise personalized advice tailored to you. This video provides generalized perspective, information, and commentary. Any third-party content I show should not be deemed endorsed by me. This video is not and shall never be deemed reasonably sufficient for the purposes of evaluating a security or investment decision. Any links or promoted products are either paid affiliations or products or services we may benefit from, like my courses or my actively managed ETF, which you can learn all about at meetkevin.com. I do personally manage an ETF, and I do hold various long positions, including those potentially made in this video. However, I have no relationship to any issuers, nor am I presently acting as a market maker.